Down by the shimmering, sun-dappled pond, where dragonflies danced on beams of light, lived a little duckling named Pip. His home was a cozy nest woven amongst the tall, whispering cattails, and it was the snuggest spot in the whole wide world. Pip was a cheerful little duckling, with fluffy yellow feathers and a happy quack. More than anything, he loved to bake. He didn't bake with flour or sugar like the baker in the village. Pip baked with the earth's finest ingredients, rich, squishy mud from the pond's edge. He was a master mud pie maker. But Pip had a small problem. His cozy nest was always in a muddle. It was filled to the brim with his wonderful treasures. There were shiny black pebbles for pressing patterns, twisty brown twigs for building frames, fluffy dandelion seeds for sprinkling, and of course, lovely dollops of perfectly gloopy mud. The problem was, with so many treasures all jumbled together, Pip could never find what he needed.
"Oh, fiddlesticks and feathers,"
he would quack, rummaging through a pile of leaves.
"Where is my special smooth stone? The flat one for making my pies perfectly round."
He would search and search until his feathers were all ruffled. Then, just when he needed his favorite hollow reed for poking delicate designs, it would be lost too, hidden somewhere under a clump of moss or a tangle of roots. This made Pip feel very frustrated and not like baking at all. One sunny morning, a cheerful chipmunk scurried through the reeds, announcing the news.
"The annual Forest Festival is next week. The Great Mud Pie Contest is on."
Pip's heart did a little flutter thump. A real contest. He imagined baking the most wonderful mud pie ever, a pie with smooth sides and beautiful decorations.
"I'll make a pie so grand it will sparkle in the sun,"
he chirped to himself. He hurried back to his nest, full of determination.
"First,"
he declared,
"I must get organized. A master baker needs a tidy kitchen."
But when he looked at the jumble, his little shoulders slumped. Where could he possibly begin? He tried to do everything at once. He pushed a pile of twigs with his beak, but they tumbled into his stack of pebbles. The pebbles rolled away, knocking over a leaf bowl full of muddy water, which splashed all over his collection of swan feathers. The mess was getting bigger and bigger. He felt very small and overwhelmed. As Pip let out a long, weary sigh, he noticed a slow, calm movement near the water's edge. It was Sheldon, the old tortoise, who lived by the big willow tree. Sheldon was arranging his collection of mossy rocks, placing each one just so, slowly and carefully. He didn't seem rushed or worried at all. Pip watched for a moment, then turned back to his own muddle. He decided to try one more time with a great big heave. He pushed and he shoved, trying to get everything into one big pile. But as he did, his little webbed foot caught on a tangled vine, and he tumbled right into the middle of his messy mountain. He was stuck. There were twigs in his fluff, a pebble balanced on his head, and a smudge of mud right on the end of his beak. Everything felt wobbly and wrong. A big wave of sadness washed over him.
"Oh, I'll never get this right,"
he wailed, his little voice trembling.
"My nest will always be a mess. I'll never bake my festival pie."
A tiny warm tear rolled down his feathery cheek and splashed onto a dusty leaf. He was ready to give up. Sheldon, hearing the little duckling's sad cry, slowly ambled over. He looked at Pip, stuck in his pile of treasures, and his ancient eyes were kind. "A big task is just many small steps," Sheldon said in his slow, rumbly voice. "You cannot move the whole forest at once, but you can move one leaf. Start with one thing at a time, Pip. Perhaps just the pebbles first? Pip sniffled and looked at the mountain of things around him. Just the pebbles? It seemed like such a small start. But the tortoise's voice was so calm and sure. Maybe, just maybe, it could work. He wiggled himself free and picked up one shiny black pebble. He carried it to a little nook in the wall of his nest and set it down. Then he picked up another, and another. Soon he had a little pile of sparkly pebbles, all together in their own special place. Just the pebbles, he whispered to himself, and he felt a tiny spark of hope. Next, he looked at the twigs. Just the twigs now, he said, remembering Sheldon's words. He gathered all the long ones, the short ones, and the twisty ones, and he bundled them neatly together with a blade of strong grass. Slowly, gently, one thing at a time, Pip's nest began to change. A clear space appeared on the floor. He found a corner for his fluffy seeds and another for his softest moss. The more he tidied, the lighter and happier he felt. And then, under a clump of old cattail fluff, he saw it. "My special smooth stone!" he quacked with delight. A moment later, tucked inside a curled-up leaf, he found his hollow reed. All his special tools were safe and sound. Now his nest was clean and cozy, and there was plenty of room to work. He fetched the best, squishiest mud from the pond. He patted it and flattened it with his smooth stone until it was perfectly round. He used his hollow reed to poke delicate, swirling patterns all around the edge. He decorated the top with the tiniest yellow wildflowers, a ring of his shiniest pebbles, and right in the very middle, a single perfect white feather. It was the most magnificent mud pie he had ever made. Pip proudly carried his mud pie to the festival. The squirrels, badgers, and rabbits all admired his wonderful creation. He didn't win the big blue ribbon, but a kind old owl gave him a special prize for the most joyfully decorated pie. Pip didn't mind one bit. He felt prouder of his tidy nest and his finished pie than if he'd won a dozen prizes. He found Sheldon dozing in the evening sun. "Thank you, Sheldon," Pip chirped softly. "You helped me see that one little step at a time is the best way to do anything." Sheldon opened one sleepy eye and smiled a slow, wise tortoise smile. "You did the work, little one. You just needed to find your calm." That night, Pip paddled back to his nest as the moon cast a silvery path across the water. He snuggled down into the soft grasses. It wasn't cluttered anymore. It was cozy and clean, clean and cozy. All his treasures were in their perfect places, waiting for his next baking day. He could smell the sweet night air and feel the gentle breeze on his feathers. He knew that being tidy wasn't a chore. It was a peaceful way to make space for the things he loved to do. Feeling happy and very, very content, the tidy little duckling closed his eyes and drifted off to a gentle, dreamy sleep.